Jay Massey is a full-time real estate investor. He's an entrepreneur.
He also teaches people how to find deals, raise capital for real estate investments.
Meeting Jay Massey in person, you'd think he's just a regular guy. He's got jeans and a t-shirt on and a pair of sneakers. But he's built up a multi-million-dollar empire.
I hope you do have an empty notebook because it's going home filled.
Jay gives back so much value that I've never seen.
Now, at this moment, when I'm looking at the kitchen, things are going through my head.
You want to be friends with him, and he treats you like you're the only person in the room, even though it's for the benefit of everybody.
This is how, when you ask yourself, how does Jay do it? This is how.
He tells people that they have to take action, and they have to take action now. I took the action, and the results have paid off.
What happens when the marketplace understands who we are and how we go out there?
So, hello everybody. Thanks for being here today, and just waiting for the Apple TV to come on so that I can just make sure everything looks right on the screen as well. Excellent. So, for those of you who are here for the first time, welcome. My name is Jay. What we're going to do is we're going to do a Q&A, and through that Q&A, well, I'm just going to answer your questions. In the meantime, though, I also going to be pulling up some news articles as it relates to the short-term rental business. We'll be able to talk about those as well. But for those of you who have never participated here, by all means, all you have to do is to call in to the phone line and be able to, well, go through the screening, and then we will definitely do our best to answer your questions, whatever that be along the real estate, business, and or short-term rental world. So that's the plan that we're going to stick to today. So let's do our best to get that. So if you've got a question, feel free to dial 417-344-2274, 417-344-2274, and we will go from there. Okay, so still waiting for the... Thank you. So that way I can make sure that things look right over here. Excellent. Uh-oh, I think I lost the sound. Yep. Okay, all right, we're back. Sorry about that. Anyway, so yeah, dial 417-344-2274, and we will get you going from there. All right, guys. Uh-oh. Did I? Did it just freeze?
Do I click?
What happened? Okay, it looks like you're not frozen. Oh, I'm not frozen. Okay, thank you. I'm like, I don't know what happened. Something weird just happened on my end, and I thought it was frozen, Sarah. So thank you for letting me know, because I was like this close to just restarting the whole thing. Because I'm like, I don't understand. But it looked like it on my end, and then all of a sudden it started working, and then so we're good. All right. Anyway, if you've got a question, feel free to hit the 417 number. Where did it go? Oh, I took the number off the screen. Ha! We're having a good day already. 417-344-2274, and we will do our best to get your question here. It's like I said, it's usually easiest when you can dial in. That way I can, we can talk back and forth, but if for some reason you want to type your question in the chat, that's also fine. Now, in the meantime, while we look at that, what we're going to look at, or what I would like to look at today, in addition to everything else, is some of the news articles. So some of you, you've been participating in the Q&As that we've been doing during the day, and when we do those, or it's not Q&As, but some of the live streams that we're doing during the day, or early in the day, and we've been looking at, or there was a session where I did like clues in the news, and it's kind of, I think, an interesting skill, specifically to be able to know and look at and use the news as a lead generation source, because we can. So hopefully we'll be able to do a little bit of that right now as well. Now, many of you know that one of the sites that I prefer, oops, that's a little off, that I prefer to use is Skift, is one of many sites, but they are primarily, again, research-based when it comes to the information that they provide. So it's a big research firm, charge lots of money, but what I think is interesting is how when we look at headlines such as these, we can figure out unique ways of opportunity for each and every one of us, depending on how it is you're looking to skin the cat or play the business, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So for example, when we look at the articles that they're currently producing, this is probably an interesting one for sure. I mean, just the idea alone, let's look at this title. When you're looking at or thinking about everything that's going on in today's marketplace, my guess is that that's not what you were thinking. You weren't thinking that it was going to be a boom in construction, even though everything else that's been going on, right? But yet, that's exactly what's happening, which again, I find interesting, because not all the time, just because it's going bad or the perception is that things are bad, it doesn't mean things are anywhere near as bad as it could look. All right, looks like we have a caller on the line, so let's see what we can do here. If I can remember how to do this right. Okay, so here we go. And where'd it go? This button. Angela, you there?
Hey, Jay, I'm here.
I got it.
San Diego.
Yes, what's going on? How are you?
Good, how are you doing?
So far so good today. So far so good. How can I help?
So two questions. One, talking with the landlord, trying to negotiate. She originally wanted a 6-month lease because she's had bad experience in the past with tenants, and she wants to be able to get them out. Had some helpful information from Wendy, so went back and asked her for a year lease, and she came back with a year lease with $100 increased rent, but she also wants 2 months of security deposit.
Okay, got it.
So question, 2 months of security deposit, a lot of money to tie up for a year or more. Any suggestions on continuing the negotiation?
Yeah, plenty. Okay, got it. So the first and foremost, how many units are we talking about?
With my first question, this is just one. My second question will be with multiple units. So this question's 1 unit.
I love it. Okay, Angela. All right, got it. So what I would do, let me ask this next question. When it comes to the $100 increase, could you pay that and make it work?
Yes, I believe so. It's pretty inexpensive. It's $15.95.
Okay.
For rent, 1 bedroom.
How many square feet?
Great location. 600 square feet.
Okay. And who is it that we're looking to serve?
Military, medical professionals, and business travelers.
Okay. I think I understand in general. All right. So, what is their proximity to the nearest hospital at that location? Less than 2 miles?
There are, less than 2 miles, less than 5 miles, and then less than 10 miles.
Okay, perfect. So then there's you got lots of choices and options, I guess, at this particular point is really what if I'm communicating anything, I want to make sure that you hear and know that, okay? So, for example, here's, when you say the security deposit, how much is the security deposit?
2 months rent.
Oh, so she wants $3,200 is what you're saying?
Yes.
And then you would still pay the prorated amount for the first, and then the prorated amount for the first month, and then the rest of the money, correct?
Correct.
All right. So there's a couple of things that I'm thinking. Well, let me ask you this question. How solid are you on this location?
Pretty solid. I live less than a block away. Like I can walk to
Oh,
it.
all
It's
right.
in the middle of my business district area, so restaurants right next door, coffee shops. It's very central to the base, different bases in San Diego,
Does
and the hospitals.
does this lady have more? How many units is this building?
It is like a cottage. She's a real estate agent.
That's a
She
problem.
does
But anyway.
have some more. She has low availability right now. She has low availability right now, but she is a real estate agent.
But does she? Are there any more location units available in this building? It sounds like the answer is no.
Correct.
And so is this a house or no? It's not a house. How many units are in this building?
I think there are like 4.
Okay, got it. So here's a couple of things that I'm thinking. So from the security deposit side, I agree with you. $3,200 is a lot of money to tie up for one transaction in this particular case. So we have a number of ways to approach that. One of the ways that I like to approach it is, okay, yeah, you want a greater security deposit. I need to make sure that the amount of money that gets tied up and all this other stuff, because that costs me money, and these aren't things she's thinking about. However, expands to meaning, how can I get to 3 units then? You know, I have no problem with $3,200 as a security deposit. In general, I have a problem with $3,200 as a security deposit and it meaning only 1 unit. Do you see where I'm going with that?
Yes. Okay, gotcha.
So that's number 1. So and now if that for some reason is not tenable in some way, shape, or form, that's why I like it when they have a building that's large enough so that you can add additional units in that same building, right? So, because if it was $3,200 security deposit for all 4 of those units, then okay, we wouldn't really be talking about much now, would we?
Exactly.
All right, so that's number 1. Number 2, the other way, the thing I care more about though is the $100 a month increase. That's way more important to me. Depending on how solid you are with this location, I love the fact that they want a $100 increase. Then if they want a $100 increase at 3%, yeah, if they want the $100 increase, I don't have a problem with that if they're willing to give you a 36 or 48 month lease with no additional increases during that term. You see what happened there?
Yes.
Okay, so that's really what it comes down to. So there's room, there's ways to play all of these things. What I don't like is an additional $100 only for 12 months and a $3,200 only for 1 unit. So if we're going down that route, what I want you to do is to get more bang for your buck, for lack of a better way of putting it. Now, if there's pushback in either one of those situations, well, specifically with the security deposit, then we want to find out what the concern is, if we can. And if we can't, we need to negotiate a way to get the 1 month of that security deposit back after a certain performance period. Maybe after 6 months, you get the money back, you know, if that's what you want or something of that nature. But at some point that needs to come back. Does that make sense?
Yep. Okay. Awesome.
So those are the types of things that I'm thinking when you say all of those things. Ultimately though, if this is a 4-plex or what have you, you want to do your best to try to angle to get all 4 of those units for yourself as soon as humanly possible, obviously. That's what I would do. I would want to have all of them. And I would even state such so that on turnover that she begins to think of you as opposed to trying to find, you know, someone else.
Okay, awesome.
Now, you said you had a second question?
And yeah, so I have a second question. There's a REIT I believe it's a REIT. They're a new development building. So they haven't really, I don't even think, opened, or they have very few units opened right before COVID happened. So they seem like
so it
they
was like
are
a new
open to
construction?
multiple units. Yeah, new construction
Okay.
building, units at the top, restaurant at the bottom.
Ooh. Ew.
And yeah. So they were out first on my list to call. She said, she was going to send it up to corporate. I gave her some information. I'm going to send it up to her manager. Her manager says she wants to move forward, but of course it would have to be approved by corporate.
Yeah, no
So
doubt.
my question is, what's the best way to prepare or put myself in a position where I can lock this up?
How many units is the building?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, so
At least 30, 60.
do you know who the REIT is? Like, is it Greystar? Is it?
It's called H.G. Fenton Company.
Okay, and I don't have anyone there. Okay, so here's the challenge. How many units are you willing to take?
As much as I can handle.
That's a good way of answering that question. And so what I would say, though, is your value proposition in this particular case is going to be along the lines of taking multiple units. Now, like I know, I prefer you dealing with owner-controlled properties because around the situation of just how REITs work. So with this being the case, there are a couple of things that I want you to find out. If this is new construction, my initial concern is, do they have some sort of refinance that they're trying to position themselves for in the not too distant future? If so, you want to know that now, okay? It's not a deal killer, but you need to know. Number two, if they don't, that's fine. The other thing that I want to know is, in this case, I really, really, really want you to have a 3 or 4 year lease because the second thing I get concerned about is they're trying to hit their numbers and then they sell off the building and then you now have to deal with the new owner and or new management and your lease is expiring. Does that make sense? So I want you to have that longer term so that if that is part of their goal, your lease will survive that ownership change and still give you a few more years to continue to work there, if you will. Does that make sense?
Gotcha. Okay, yep, that makes sense.
It's what?
I said, yep, that makes sense.
Oh, okay, perfect. So yeah, that's really the thing that I'm thinking about in that particular case is that. Yeah, that's the thing that really matters in this case, because of the risk of the new construction and it being a REIT, we need to make it difficult for them to get rid of you at the beginning, not for no other reason than you get the chance to benefit and they're not leveraging you just for their own benefit. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, yep, that makes total sense. They try to secure leases so that, yep, it looks good on their books and property, and then they refinance new ownership and they try to cut my lease preemptively.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what I want to protect. I want you to be protected from, and that's what that's probably the risk, if you will. That's probably the risk. So outside of that, though, understand that the value proposition for them is all around you taking multiple units, like going through all the hoops.
Now it makes sense.
For one unit is not, yay. So you definitely want to put yourself in a situation to where where they'll want to do that for you. Does that make sense?
Yep, totally.
Okay.
Thank you. That's awesome. That makes sense.
Good. But good job. I appreciate the fact that, like I said, you just got started and you're out there. You made the goal to call the landlord. You did so. And now this is right here. And you are, these are the types of conversations when I'm working with someone like yourself that you are days, if not hours, away from having one, if not three or more units. So, which is one of the many things I like about this particular model is how fast, quote unquote, it moves between the time you can get started and the time you actually begin to not only secure a unit, but generate revenue. So it doesn't have to take long, and you're not letting it take long, and I appreciate that about you. That's for sure.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, you're an inspiration. So
Thank you. I do try. So good. Glad. Thanks for joining. And I guess I'll talk to you soon.
yep. Thanks, Jay.
No problem. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you see that's just simply how it works. You dial the number, I answer your questions, and we just keep that up until there is, until there's no more questions. So, or we're just done for the time that we have allocated for today. So with that being said, let's go back to the article that I was about to talk about when I noticed that she was on the phone. Where did the article go? 1, 2, there it is. All right, so what I was going to say is that sometimes opportunity is counterintuitive. You just heard Angela on the phone, and she was talking about a opportunity where it's clear the REIT just finished building a building, and they're trying to lease it up now, and that's part of the opportunity in this case for her. Now let me see, I'm thinking that might be a little small, so let's try to make it a little bit bigger. How about that? And what I think is interesting is that even during the month of March, which admittedly was not great for a lot of hotels for sure, and the travel industry in general, the construction still hit a high. This is not that's a counterintuitive, like, oh wow, that's still happening? Well, yeah, and what I think is also interesting is that this is a leading indicator of things to come, meaning these corporations, entities, etc., they're going to complete these projects. They started this research for a reason. They know the demand for those particular areas. Now they'll probably adjust their numbers in some way, but they're going to finish those projects, and they're going to finish those projects because, well, like most, if not all markets, they're cyclical in nature. So, yeah. Now, if any projects that don't get finished, as you can see, it'll take a while before that begins to show up. Either way it goes, what it comes down to, as you can see right here, is construction can be a lagging indicator, especially with new stuff. But you can look at the numbers and try to figure things out when you're definitely looking at the news. And that's the main thing that I want to see. Let me see if we can find another interesting article in the meantime. And let me also check to see if anybody is on the phone. Because I should have put that in the same window, but I did not. All right, no, not at this moment. Or did I? Yeah, no, not at this moment. All right, so, whoops, where'd it go? Research news, latest news. I'm gonna go back there, see what else we've got. We've got corporate travel managers tackle. Yes, this is something that I've been thinking about a lot because it's not like businesses are going to suddenly not ask their people to travel. They're still going to ask their people to travel, right? That's still going to be a part of their job. And the responsibility or potential liability or everything else that goes along with it is like, okay, they're trying to find a way to make it possible to put people back on the road. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I can see that there's already an opportunity inside of what's here, if that makes sense. So for the company or persons who know how to make it possible for more businesses to have more of their people back on the road and traveling amongst the population without, causing any sort of additional harm to others, this is something that's going to be a thing, because corporations have to get their companies back on the road in some way, shape, or form. I don't know what that's going to look like, obviously. And again, this is something that we talked about during our morning session. It's very clear. There's many different ways of looking at this. Particular, here's what I mean. There's the current stage of where we are, and where we are right now is during the crisis. And then there's the just after the crisis, and then there's the new normal, right? So whatever they figure out right now is pretty much what they're looking for, is that Band-Aid, that stopgap, that thing that, what can we do until we're at the new normal stage? Meaning, another way of saying that is, what can we do until we have the vaccine? Or what can we do until there's sufficient herd immunity, if that ever happens? What can we do in the meantime? Because we can't not operate for that length of time. So what is the solution? And that's what this article is talking about in terms of figuring it out, because that is definitely a need that companies have at this, well, the entire economy has at this particular moment in time. Let's see, what's this? Looks like Steve's got a question. Hold on one second. Huh, interesting. There we go. So, what? I see what is it? What cost savings strategies have you implemented? For example, I have 2 apartments next to each other. I bought a Wi-Fi system and I went in. Oh, got it. You're talking about how to cut some expenses. Got it. When it comes to the short-term rental world, totally makes sense. So, there's a ton of them to be specific. But you take that same idea, Steve, with your YouTube TV. For example, YouTube TV comes with 6 accounts per payment. So now you can spread that one across many. There's also when you think of cost savings, one of the other things that has worked out very well is to encourage longer stays. What that means is the cost of replenishing certain supplies is not the same, because they last longer, or that replenishment now transfers from us to the person who is there. Some other cost savings, some that are very, very impactful, are not going outside of the platform. Instead of just waiting for, say, an Airbnb or Booking.com or what have you to come your way, developing external relationships, which is going to now save you. Yes, there's a marketing cost up front, but that's going to save you in the long term. Who knows, anywhere from 3 to 18% of whatever it is that you would have paid already. So that's also there. Now, what is also important is changing, well, it's not so much cost savings, but there are some other moves you should make, specifically around the cleaning aspect, and changing it just from a cleaning statement to a disinfection protocol, and making sure that your cleaning teams have such a thing, and that now that you've documented that as well. Certain things, your Netflix can also be similarly cut down. If you happen to be using Disney Plus, that could also be similarly cut down. I wasn't willing to do the Wi-Fi one, but I get you 100%, because especially if they are contiguous or next to each other or close enough, then yeah, you're probably completely fine. That was not something that we did, even though we thought about it. So being able to cut a lot of those additional operational expenses are there. Also, changing how we ran our cleaning crew has removed, about 30% of the cleaning cost by bringing that to mostly or more internal than just external at the same time. Has also helped us tremendously as well. So I'm not sure if that gets all the things you were talking about, but that's definitely the stuff that's there. Let's see, what else? Oh, you have another one. An apartment owner is deferring payment. Another one. Owner of apartment is deferring payment that must be made up 6 months. If I forgo. Huh? Okay. I'm not understanding that one, Steve. Can you call in? Just 417-344-2274. Call in, because I didn't quite, I don't know, maybe I'm reading it wrong or something, but that's really what it is. Anyway, looks like we have another caller on the line. Let's talk to Frank. Hey, Frank, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Jay. Hope you are.
I am. I'm in South Carolina. You guys are holding it down, staying clean.
Staying clean. I was completely booked up for 3 months, and I was completely unbooked quickly.
Okay.
I decided not to do the medical thing because my housekeepers really didn't want to do that
Sure.
because of the extra precautions. So we just decided to leave the unit.
Got it.
But the good news is I did get a booking for July last night. The phones have been totally dead, but that's a good thing.
Yeah,
But
no,
the
totally
reason
understand.
I'm calling,
Yes.
I've been visiting properties in Myrtle Beach.
Oh,
trying to
okay.
add units. I thought I've had units 4 one time, 6 one time, 8 one time, and the owners, the story changed. They changed the story on me. But some of those guys are calling me back now.
Yes.
And I got word from one of my real estate buddies that some of them are actually hurting.
Yes.
So how aggressively low should I go down on our original offers that they turned down?
Good point. So it's a combination of a number of things, right? You want to make that investment in the relationship. So yes, definitely leave some. I would take some off the table for sure, but I would go get something. More than thinking about lowering the price, I would think about establishing your foothold. Similar to what I told Angela a couple of calls ago was, so for example, maybe we lower the monthly rent a couple $100 or $100, $150, and you ask for 36, 48 months. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's kind of.
Being I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I know it's a delay. Go ahead. Being that it's beach property,
Yes.
all seasons is a challenge, but you got to rent it to other people other than vacationers.
Yeah,
And you
100%.
taught me all of that.
That's one of the things that I
But,
like about the business is that most people forget that they call them vacation rentals and they don't realize that also then locks in their thinking around, well, how can I use this property? In fact, just before this, I'm literally going back and forth with an insurance company for a number of different of our locations because, hey, people's houses are still flooding and that other stuff is happening. But people just lose sight of the fact that there are many uses for short-term rentals, but you don't, and that's good. But at the same time, that's why I think negotiating, because it's a beach front, and you do have extreme seasonality there, I would want to negotiate a lower dollar amount with no increases for a longer term. That's what I would do.
Well, see, that's why one of the deals fell through, because he didn't want to do that. He didn't want the longer term, because this particular property was 7 units, kind of sandwiched in some high rises, and he's hoping to get the big payoff from a high rise buying his property.
Yeah,
So
no,
he
totally
wouldn't
understood.
Really go there.
But that's going to be
And I
2 years from
understand-
now, right? At least.
But it's all good, having fun. I've had to actually go back and do a little bit harder work with Renatus to get a little more cash flow coming in. But that's a good thing also.
It's all good, sir. It's all good. Anything else we can help with?
But I appreciate what you do because,
No, go ahead.
it's good. Number one unit is running. All of the software is in place. It's just time to duplicate, and I just haven't duplicated because the deals fell through. That. I know I've left several messages. I thought it was fixing to happen. Now, one of them I did back out on, but it's all good. It's a lot of fun. I'll never do another job. I love sitting in my living room and doing this.
Well, I'm so
no
glad.
more jobs, no more time clock.
I'm so glad that's the experience you're having, and I'm glad because that's the experience it's designed for people to have. So I'm glad to hear that. Now, just let us know anything that we can do, and right now you are correct. There's going to be a lot of opportunities coming, so keep your ear to the ground because I think there's going to be a lot coming your way and everyone's way.
Now,
so.
Now today I was happy to see that one of the ladies did get her grant from the SBA. I've got money in for that grant.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I'm shooting for the stars. I'm trying to get enough to get everything into my businesses and out of my wife and I's name.
Sure.
Through that grant.
Sure.
That's really the goal. I don't think I'll get that much, but maybe half of it would even be awesome.
Yeah, no, totally understood. Yeah, it is. It does feel like winning. It's almost like winning the lottery. You were able to get money before they ran out. Good job, way to go. So, we were not so lucky.
Mark Cole and them, they do my taxes for me, so they got the paperwork to me, and then they announced the website. I couldn't get on the website, but I did get the paperwork in. We were they announced it Wednesday and got the website up Friday, and we got the paperwork in on Monday. So it was nice to hear that one of our ladies, and I think Wolf, was that her name? I can't remember her name, but it was exciting to know that she finally got her grant. So that means that they are paying.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of off the subject, I saw where Harvard got $50 billion, and that's
that's a whole nother story.
That's not right. Okay, thanks for what you do. You do such a wonderful job, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Frank. Thanks for calling in. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Let's see what we got here. We got a couple more questions. What does this say? What is it? Oh, Steve, let me know if you're going to call in it because I'm still not understanding your question. Another one. What are your thoughts on the whole SBA loan debacle? Oh, that's pretty funny. Is it worth trying to apply, even though they are now out of money and not accepting applications? Yes, it's worth it because it's not going to bring you any less money. Do you hear what I'm saying? So it's worth it because it's not going to bring you any less money. It is not your plan A. That's all. So hopefully that makes sense. Because what did you say? You were right way back when you wondered if they had set aside. Yes, it's funny. We should go back and look at that because that would have been like what, March? Oh man, I want to say March 16th, 15th, somewhere in there, where I was saying this is not enough money. Get your application in now because they're gonna run out, type of thing. There are some times I don't want to be right. That's all I'm going to say. There are some times I don't want to be right, but it is what it is. So, nonetheless. That's what's there. That's just what's there. You just can read the tea leaves, if you will, and kind of take it from there. Now, let's see. Let's get back to this article one last time and see what we've got. Where did it go? There it is. It says, because the article was talking about specifically corporate travel, and understand that will come back. It will come back over time. Which gets me to making this one statement based upon the research that I've done and what I have seen. What's interesting to me is in past recessions or downturns in the travel industry specifically, what comes back first, the type of travel that comes back first, is actually leisure and probably even more so now that we've all been asked to stay at home, and in some cases, stay at home with your children for longer than you anticipated, maybe you're used to, and you're like, okay, I am ready to go. Which does mean that we will experience that rubber band / rebound effect, but it'll be more local / regional travel, domestic travel more than anything, especially at the beginning, and even that's going to be slow at best. So don't get your hopes up saying, okay, cool, it's all going to get better immediately. It'll take time, and it'll be different, and it'll all be okay. So, yep. So, at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, it is interesting to be able to assist, and I really appreciate that those of you who take the time to call in, and hopefully, what we say, what we do has helped you in some way, shape, or form build your business. Because we want to make sure that you, along with a whole bunch of other people, always get their questions answered as best as we possibly can. So with all of that being said, let me check to make sure that there are no more calls. Oh, hold on. She's sneaking in here 1 last second, so let's see. Hello, Deetra.
Hi, Jay.
How are you?
So, I am doing good. How are you?
So far, so good.
Cool.
How can I help?
Well, I guess I did sort of sneak in here.
You did.
I'm asking a question. I'm a little embarrassed to ask the question because I know enough about, I've learned enough about short-term rentals from you, but I think I still have a mindset issue surrounding why would homeowners allow me to take control of their property for short-term rentals. Can you just sort of run down how do you approach an owner?
Got it.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I do.
So hopefully there are other people in the group who need to hear this too.
Well, first of all, let me just commend you for being willing to admit that you didn't know, or because in fact, here we go. Just for you, we're all gonna clap. How about that? So we're all clapping.
Okay, I'll take it.
For you. Because there are probably a few other people who have the same question. They're just afraid, and they're like, I'm gonna keep tuning in and just wait till somebody else asks it. Anyway, and it's good. And it's good. But let me ask you this question. Why do you think they wouldn't? What goes through your head? Because I'm sure you know that. Why wouldn't they do it? You tell me.
So in my head, what I think of is that somebody's property is probably the most valuable thing that they own. Any little bit of damage or any little bit of anything can be very costly to them.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they trust me to basically take control of it, to manage it?
Mm-hmm. Got it. So the property is valuable. Interesting. All right. I like that. And then, because it's valuable, why would they trust you? That's what I'm hearing. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's exactly it, yeah.
All right, got it. So, I guess that if that's the case, then I would, in fact, here's what I would say. Wouldn't you say that time is more valuable than a piece of property?
Yes. Time is, I really do believe that time is your most valuable asset.
Okay, so
I do believe that.
So what
That's
if?
the one that's not replaceable.
I agree. So what if, by giving it to you, by leasing the property to you, what if leasing the property to you gives them the ability to spend time with their kid? What do you think is more valuable to them?
Okay. It will be the ability to spend time with their kids.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it doesn't mean they're going to just lease it to anyone, but understand, my point is, people, meaning landlords, everyone, we all do things for our reasons, not, everybody does them for their own reasons, not the reasons you think they should, right? Because you might be thinking one thing, like they're thinking of something that's important to them. There's an exchange. All value involves an exchange. You are giving up something of value for something you perceive to be of greater value, even if all we're talking about is a bottle of water. In the moment, you're thirsty.
Okay.
And you're thirsty,
Okay.
and when
Okay.
Disneyland is open, you will pay $7 for that bottle of water.
That's true.
Because
true.
that's just how it works at that moment, right?
Okay.
But in other circumstances, you
Okay,
wouldn't.
so it does come down to, cause I really believe, I've done some wholesaling, and I understand that sometimes there are more important things than money in the situation.
Sometimes there are more important, anyway, there are a lot of more important things. But the other question you said is,
Than the money here.
the other question you said is, why you? That is a good question. Why would they entrust it to you?
Okay.
Because that is a good question. What would, if someone was going, let me ask it differently. Have you ever watched someone else's child?
Yes.
Why did
School teacher. I've watched many people's children.
and why would any parent who loves their children let you watch them? Why?
Because I would take care of them.
You
I
would?
make sure they stay safe. I'd see. Yeah. Okay.
So
I would.
the question becomes,
Yeah.
Because I'm entrusting something to you that is valuable, what you should describe to me is how you would take care of what I consider to be valuable, in this case, my property, right? So that's why we talk about all the security procedures, who you serve, how you do that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. My point is, you remember, people are going to do things for their reasons, not yours, and it's not about you. They don't really, I mean, they may want to spend time with their kids, and the only thing, just take care of my property, pay me my money, take care of my property, leave me alone, don't cost me more time, because I want to go to Johnny's basketball game. That's what I want to do.
Okay.
You help me to do that? Great. If all I have to do is let you use this property, that sounds like a great trade to me. There's a number of reasons why someone would do that.
Okay.
Does that, you feel better?
Okay.
Does that help?
I do.
Okay.
It does, because it does remind me that, so people's properties are like the little preschoolers I used to take care of. And yes.
Oh my God, you had preschoolers?
I was very protective about my own. Yes, I had 3 to 5 year olds. Yeah.
You win.
Yep. So I win.
You win.
Yes, and I was very fierce about my little kids. So yes, I understand that.
Yeah, and you would be no less fierce with someone else's property. And now, most people say that anyway, but I also let people know that I know you've heard that before, but what they don't understand is that because of our business model, we have to be, because we're reviewed after every guest. So we just can't, you know? I'm sorry, I mean, we can't. We have to go to the point of making sure it's all good all the time, because our business tanks based upon reviews. So you have two reasons why that we're really going to take care of it, because it doesn't work if we don't.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. See, I knew you already knew the answer.
I knew it was floating in here too, but there was just a piece that I needed to get past. So.
Hey.
Thank you for reframing. I needed it reframed so I could understand it in the way I think. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
That made sense.
It's what I do. I enjoy it. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Great. Thank you so much.
No problem. No problem. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye.
You too. Thanks, Dave.
Bye.
Bye.
Excellent, guys. I hope you heard in that was, there's no such thing, I mean, as a bad, stupid, or whatever question, guys. I mean, at the end of the day, man, there's so much we can all learn from each other, and just give yourself a chance. Try. It's not that big of a deal. It is all good. Anyway, I'm hoping that the things that, like I said, that we share with you, the opportunities that we sometimes create and give each other and you to get your questions answered and all of those things, it helps you in some very, very important way. For those of you who don't know, tomorrow at starting at 6:30 in the morning, we will be doing we're actually tomorrow and Thursday at 6:30 in the morning, 6:30 a.m. Pacific time to be clear. We will be doing presentations all day, all around short-term rentals, helping those that are registered get started. Figure out how can you be like Angela, the first caller today, who just a couple of weeks ago said, okay, I want to try this thing. And now is talking to multiple landlords during a pandemic and getting close to having multiple units, will likely get something before the end of this week. And by the time we end up talking to her next, we're gonna be having completely different conversations about probably furniture, decorations, and all the stuff that goes inside the unit. But understand, you literally, if you've been watching for any length of time during this pandemic, you're watching individuals transform their life right here with us in real time, building a business while sheltering in place. Because what we have is a very unique opportunity. It's a unique time, and I think you also have very unique ability. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun talking to you guys today. I look forward to talking to you soon. Until next time.